Well, my goodness, guys, welcome back to our latest interview on The Wolf and the Crows.
Hey, so, guys, coming up on the channel, right, we got James Miles, military advisor for Game of Thrones, alright?
He was the guys that made sure that all them battle scenes actually looked like we knew what we were doing.
We did know
exactly.
what we were doing.
Yeah.
So he would have been in
He's
charge.
going to be telling you about his time on the show, what his actual involvement was, and how he made a bunch of people like us and less skilled than us actually look like they knew what they were doing.
Looked like a fucking army.
Looked like an army,
yeah, big time. So
Yeah.
one of the major things he worked on was Battle of the Bastards. But, as always, guys, please make sure to like, share and subscribe. What else?
What else? That's it. That's
No,
it.
no.
No, it's not. You have to ding.
Oh,
Ding, 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 ding. The
Ding that
fucking
bell.
bell.
Ding the fuck out of that bell. As well, guys, yeah, check out the interview.
Yeah, let's have a look at Mr. James Miles. Well, my goodness, guys, welcome to our latest interview. Today we have James Miles, Jimmy, military advisor for Game of Thrones, in the studio.
Happy days.
How you doing, Jimmy?
Yeah, very well indeed, mate.
Yeah.
And you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Happy days.
Thanks for coming in.
No,
doing this
thank you
us.
thank you for the invite, guys.
Yeah.
It's a pretty awesome setup you got here.
You came all the way over on the ferry from England today? For
No,
this?
from North Wales. I
From
live
North
in a little
Wales?
island off of North Wales. Yeah, they won't let me on the mainland.
No. So, Jamie, we'll start off. If you can give us a sort of bit of a brief, after your military career, how did that actually lead on to you working on TV and film sets?
Yeah, so it's unusual film set style or the film industry style. It's not what you know, it's who you know. I'd done 27 years in the Royal Marines and kind of went to semi-retirement, when I moved on this little island, built myself a house. And then a very good friend of mine who I'd served with, Dave, do you remember Dave Terry?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he phoned me up rather randomly and said, Jamie, do you fancy a gig over in Northern Ireland? And I'm thinking, Christ, Northern Ireland? Oh, yeah, and I didn't even know what it was for. And so I said, I just said, why not? Get a bit of a break, thinking a couple of weeks of security work or something or other.
Yeah.
So anyway, it turns out in the end that it's a gig working for a company called CTR, Close to Reality. It is another former Royal Marine guy called Billy Budd. Awesome guy, I think you've met him. Full of life. Well, he provides military advisors, technical advisors to loads of film sets, Bourne, Bond, all the big stuff, Thrones, all of that. So first I knew I'm in Ireland, and it turns out I'm doing a bit of military advising for the Game of Thrones. Had literally never done it before, but it is exactly the same as what we've been doing all of our life. Just looking after lads.
Yeah.
And you want them to do something, you got to coerce them to do it, whether it's rain, snow or shine, you just train them what to do it. In 27 years, I kind of know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And, a week's work then turned into 9 weeks, I think, in the end we did for the first bit. And
that was for Bob, was it?
Bob was the main bit. Yeah, we'd done some bits for other stuff as well, but it was Battle of the Bastards predominantly.
Yeah.
And that was when we were in that. So we did the boot camps for a couple of weeks, and then we went into that bowl for. What was that? 27 weeks. Stood in that pile of mud, running up and down hills, and I think we charged about 1,000 times, didn't we? And broke about 1,000 men. So it was purely it was literally a phone call. Dave knew me. He knew of my ability to train people. My background. And Billy said, get him in.
Yeah.
And that's where it all started. And would we just say it was 2015?
5 years ago it was. Yeah.
Shit, the hairy bed. That's a lot. I'm feeling old. In fact, didn't you have a pure black beard back then?
It wasn't as white, like, yeah.
Yeah. And Andy had hair.
That's good. So coming on the likes of the set of Game of Thrones, what sort of brief have you been given sort of beforehand, before being handed hundreds of extras to work with?
Yeah, so I mean, I came over working with Dave, and we worked together, me and Dave, for the first 4 weeks, and then Dave had another job he had to go on to, so left me kind of to it for the remainder. So brief-wise, same as any production really. Usually you'll get a thing of storyboards, literally a series of pictures of what's in the director's mind of how he wants to shoot certain scenes.
Okay, yeah.
So I had that. We then had a pre-production meeting, and because Bob was going to be so big, we also had the previs. You know, it's like, you've seen the previs. It's literally back then.
Yeah.
It was matchsticks men moving across battlefields and all that.
Just
Now
sort of floating across it like, yeah.
now it looks like the final version, doesn't
Yeah.
it? You know, but of VFX. So we had that to work to, and we also had the numbers of when we were going to have what groups and everything else. And then you just sit down then as part of your prep and go, okay. So for us, the way we did it was, let's run the boot camps for the wildlings, let's run the boot camps for the Boltons, let's run the boot camps for this, that and the other. So right from the start, we've got defined groups.
Yeah.
And, you know, let's be brutally honest, the way we mould the wildlings, because they have to be anything but military.
Yeah,
but
they're
you have
not
to,
as regimented as the other.
but they still have to be a cohesive unit.
Yeah.
You know, one of the main reasons why we're brought onto set is when you've got something like Game of Thrones, and it's costing them millions of pounds a day to run that set. The wildlings turn up 5 minutes late. How many thousands upon thousands of pounds does that cost?
Yeah.
So, you know, one of our roles our roles aren't just to train someone to do something. It's actually to put them in a little bit of a disciplined state so that when we click our fingers, they turn up and ready to go. So the brief was just get these guys. This is what we want to do. And Dave and I sat down and came up with a plan. And as with anything in production, what you plan for and what you actually deliver in the end is usually something completely different. But at least you've got a group of men that you can mould. You can change things. I mean, I'm sure if you remember, you know, when we did the encirclement, all the different moves that we did and the options that we offered, Miguel and Charlie, we didn't even use those options, but from those options we could actually create something, as you know, in the background. So it's about planning, it's about creating the groups, getting them moulded together, and some hairy-arsed wildlings need different techniques to, I don't know, let's say some archers or some Boltons. But what you do is it's very healthy rivalry.
Yeah.
So, you know, King of the North and all that sort of thing, you know, and you're getting not to hate each other because it's all jovial, but you're actually getting them to bond as a unit because they really don't like the wildlings and the wildlings don't like the Boltons and all that sort of good stuff. And you know what? That was the preparation side of it. That is usually the most entertaining.
Yeah.
Production hate it because all they see is Jamie shouting and screaming and hollering and everything else, but they just don't get that. We're mates, actually, in the background. We've been working together on boot camps and preparation for a month or more. We know each other, and half the preparation is just getting to know the blokes and bringing them together. That's I believe, 3/4 of the battle.
Yeah, it's great, as well as sort of getting everybody regimented and being able to, you know, work on time. It's creating that banter atmosphere, so everyone's enjoying being there.
I mean, if I'm sure some of the production used to look in and go, oh my God, that's the least politically correct environment. I've just closed my eyes, you know.
We first walked down to the rehearsals and we saw this guy swearing and insulting all of our extras, and we thought, no one's going to come back tomorrow.
But for the lads, it was what made them want to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Because without that team spirit, there's no way, you know, I think we needed 450 extras. We went through 650. If we didn't have that team spirit, I think we would have gone through thousands, because they were pretty miserable days, some of those days, weren't they? Let's be brutally honest.
Yeah. They were enjoyable.
Definitely. You know, prep for each set is different. You know, I've been on a couple of other things where you can literally just turn up and they're just spend an hour with someone and just monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
Whereas when you come to, I think, probably one of the most complex things we had to do, or I've had to train, is probably that encirclement on the Battle of the Bastards, and then the encroachment.
The body.
So where we're literally every couple of steps we're pulling someone back to make the circle smaller, to make it. That was pretty hard and complex and took a lot of prep.
Yeah.
And then there's other times you can just literally turn up, right, mate, just put your left foot in front of your right. And we all know that some people
simple, yeah.
really can't do it. And for the wildlings, what was strangely difficult was, right, don't stand next to a bloke the same height as you. Whenever you stop, make sure you stood next to a short bloke, a hairless bloke, a ginger bloke, someone different, and don't march and don't be in step and you run that way, because we wanted anything but order.
Yeah.
And trying to create chaos was a bit of practice. It was easily achieved, but and demanding. And let's be brutally honest, some of the wildlings were naturally wild anyway, weren't they? You know. Where are the lads gone? Don't know. Oh, they're in the woods, are they? Right, okay, go and get the lads.
Did you have, would you say you experienced many people that weren't receptive to the input that you were given?
You get that everywhere. You get that in any walk of life. And in the film industry, it's no different. You will have some people, obviously I can't name names, but they would usually the ones that weren't the ones that were prepared to go out and stand out in the field for Battle of the Bastards, but they were prepared to turn up at Titanic Studios and do their whatever and hide and do nothing. You know what? It was one of the few things that used to wind me up, and I used to do my very, very best to out them.
Yeah.
And I think there was one example on Battle of the Bastards where there was just one guy there that was just, he was camera hungry, he was ditching his weapons to pick up a Gucci weapon, he was going through the food queue twice, and he was actually splitting up that cohesive unit that we had.
Yeah.
So I outed him and absolutely humiliated him and made sure that he didn't come back again, because, you know, I got myself in a little bit of hot water over that, but do you know what? He was causing more damage to that group than I ever could. Yeah. And you normally find that if you've got a good group, as we did, or as we've had through all the seasons that have come the end, brutally honest with you had great guys. The guys normally out the blokes. The ones that aren't pulling their weight, the ones that are hiding in the background, the ones that are never sticking their hand up in the air when it's pouring down with rain, etc., etc. Yeah. The only time they put their hand in the air is when someone's doing a donut run. You know, the lads normally fish them out themselves, and the blokes just don't feel welcome and just don't normally come back, which is great. Makes my job easier
for you.
Yeah. Apart from when it's me, they don't want to come back. Yeah.
Did you ever have any issues with the likes of Battle of the Bastards, for talk's sake, where you maybe confused certain members of the cast?
Yeah, well, I cannot give any names for legal reasons, but you know, a bit of honesty for you. I had a week's notice on doing this, not only stepping into this game, but Game of Thrones. I'd watched it, the advert for it for whatever, a couple of years, and it's not what. For me, not my thing.
Yeah.
You know, let's be brutally honest. You know, I don't do sci-fi, I don't do fantasy or anything like that normally. Well, not this sort of fantasy anyway. You know, it's usually involving something 18 plus. But so I came over fairly ignorant as to what it was. I'd watched a bit of the pilot and everything else and all that. And but within a week, I'd realised that actually I need to get home and I need to catch up on all the season, because I've got loads of wildlings and blokes in black cloaks and this, that and the other, and I just sent a massive group of lads over. I said, right, get up over onto there, wait there, get yourself ready, we're going on set in a couple of minutes. And I looked at this bloke and he's just ambling around doing his own thing. So I started rifting him Billy Big style, and basically, no. Very politely, as I'm sure you can imagine, I was asking the young man, would he mind moving himself over with the other gentleman? And next thing, this little AD come running along and went, oh, Jamie, it's okay, that's such and such. And it was one of the lead bleed. And I didn't have a clue, because he hadn't been in anything before in his life. I hadn't seen him. And so I was like, oh my God, properly put my foot in it. But thankfully I had a chat with I think, was it Charlie or Miguel? And I kind of apologised for what I'd done. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. You know, it was fine. And they saw the humorous side of it anyway. But, you know, a couple of weeks on set, I think everyone knew who I was, didn't they? You know, but early in the set, they didn't, same as I didn't then, bless them. But that wasn't the first occasion. You know, I remember being in a club, where in the centre of Belfast somewhere. There's a club where the upstairs is an open loft where you can go up and smoke. And I used to smoke back in the day.
Filthy McNasties,
Filthy McNasties, that's it. Yeah, and I ended up hello sailoring Liam, You remember, you know what hello
funny,
sailoring is, do you? When they walk past and you go, oh, Liam, you've just stepped in something.
Yeah.
He leans over like that. And I go, oh, hello, sailor. He wasn't impressed with that, but I knew who he was. Yeah, bless.
So you've done a number of battles, obviously, through the years and the seasons on Game of Thrones. Was there any particular battle that pushed your limits more?
As Game of Thrones has evolved, the more VFX has come in. So there's been more regimented stuff, and it's been demanding in different ways.
Okay, yeah.
You know, with the Unsullied, for instance, they have to be really regimented. So we're having to get them to run in step and in blocks and look like they're tied together, so it's proper OCD. That was quite challenging, but that's just about practice. I think actually the most demanding probably was Bob, because we had do you remember when we were charging down the hill and having it split into two and come around the body pile and form the encirclement? And Miguel's going, for fuck's sake, Jim. Am I allowed to swear on this?
Oh, you can.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Good, because I got Tourette. Sorry, guys. and Miguel's going, for fuck's sake, Jamie, can you not get them to speed up? And I'm looking at him. I go, have you been behind there, have you? And he went, what? And it's him in Charlie Ending. I said, come and have a look. And as he watches the lads come down the hill and go around, and they're wading through what felt like 2 foot of mud, and their boots are getting sucked off their feet, and they're slipping all over the place. And he's like, right, I get it now. Yeah. So there was little challenges like that, but actually, change is usually one of the biggest challenges on a set. If someone comes up with an idea and you work to their brief, and then they say, yeah, great, we'll do that. And then you get on set, and it's not right for them for whatever reason, for a technical reason, a camera position, and they want to change it. Change is usually your enemy, because your biggest enemy is time. Yeah. Right, and we're going to be going in 2 minutes. Well, I need I need a couple of minutes. And then in steps costume. Well, you can't have 2 minutes because I need to go and tweak his beard. Or you can tweak his beard, or I can prepare 200 people. It's up to you. Yeah. They're all challenging, all in total different ways. But it's usually time and change are your biggest threats. And Bob was that was Bob, really, to be brutally honest with you. Whereas season 8, how much time do you want? We'll create a 48-hour day for you. How much does that cost? Because that was the budget, wasn't it? They just threw absolutely everything we wanted, at us. Yeah.
And the context of your job then, really looking at the behaviour on the battlefield and time management to meet the shooting deadlines. Can you talk us through like a typical day and what would be highest on your priority list at the start of a day?
So I always have to look at if it's me and Pat, we'll sit down and do it together. Me and Billy will sit down to do it. If it's me, I'll just sit and I'll look through the shot list. And usually with Thrones, they do things in order. Whereas other sets, sometimes it's what's the cloud doing? Let's get that done. So with Thrones, you could prepare quite well. And it's very rare to have those changes. So I would then go to Dara. Obviously, then who was third, second, went to first. Whoever was the third, really, I'd just go there and say, look, I need these people ready. I've got to rehearse, I've got to practice in this. So a day or two ahead, I would make sure that the AD team were aware of what our requirements were, so that they could weigh that up with what the art of the possible was with costume and everything else. So the entire day usually reflected on how well it started. So if it turns into a cluster at the start, that normally follows you through the day because everyone's chasing their tails. But for me, it's quite a reactive thing. I know what I'm doing. I know what I need them to be doing. While the wildlings are off doing one thing, this is my opportunity to practice something with the Boltons. If I know there's a specific shot being done that I need to be on set, I know I've got to be there. And I need someone else running with the rehearsal on something else for me. So, because Game of Thrones was a very well-organised set, courtesy of let's be brutally honest, the crew, the ADs and all that were hot on their game. They were very good. the days were quite organised. So there was, unless something went drastically wrong, like poured down with rain and turned the entire set into a bog, you know. Other than that, you know, it was quite. It's easy because you're following a set program. So I kind of knew what I was doing, and if I didn't, I'd wing it and make it look like I did.
I mean, obviously in the military, you're dealing with people that expect a certain sort of regimented atmosphere and being barked at in orders and that. I mean, on the sets of Game of Thrones, how did you manage to find line between being friendly and approachable with people and commanding the respect of the extras to get what you needed out of them at the end of the day?
It worked for me. I like to think it worked for me. My approach was kind of different than some other people's. And my approach was, everyone thought I was the bad cop and Pat was perhaps the good cop or Dave was the good. But actually, I think I was both. But everyone had the brief of, look, you know, I'm here trying to make you look good on camera.
Yeah.
You know, we're here to deliver an end product. And if I stood there and barked and barked and barked and barked, people just stopped listening. So right from the get-go, we're having a laugh, we're having a joke, we're doing... Hey, remember, we used to do exercise every morning.
Yeah.
Even the fatties were like, oh my God, dread this, but we used to have fun, didn't they? You know? And then, but the point being is that I tried to, I'd like to think it worked, I tried to instill a sense of unit cohesion, humour. I know you're mental, but I need you to move at the same time, fellas. Shield man, I'm looking right at you. Hold that fucking pike there, please. Humour. But when you screwed up, you knew you screwed up.
Yeah.
It's all right screwing up, but don't ignore the advice and do it again.
Yeah.
Because that's when things get a little bit testing. Whereas everyone makes mistakes, and if you're going to make a mistake, make sure everyone knows you've made that mistake so that everyone can laugh at you and we can move on.
Yeah.
And then it's someone else's turn next. And I'm stood there getting wet, you're stood there getting wet. If I was sat inside a tent and coming out only when it was my little bits, that would wind the lads up. The lads would get fed before I got fed. And I believe that come the end, no matter where that bloke was from, and as we were talking about earlier, we had a bloke, you know, who was a wildling who lived on the street, but at the same time we had a surgeon and a structural engineer and all that. But come the end, in fact, before we even got to production and we just finished the boot camps, I like to believe there was a sense of we're in this together to produce something which is part of something very special, and there was mutual respect.
Yeah.
I didn't care if he was a hairy-ass biker living on the street or a surgeon.
Yeah.
You're an extra. You're a wildling. You're a Bolton, and listen to me, guys, because I'm trying to make you look good for your mum.
Which was your favourite house?
Favourite house?
Yeah.
Mine, because it was lovely and warm. Yeah. What do you want me to say? Do you think I preferred the wildlings, the Boltons?
Yes.
Or Starks as well.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you what. Out of all the seasons that I've done, there has always been something very unique about each group. I love the wildlings because they were the banter and the, you know. Do you remember when we used to chant to get everyone wound up and into the zone and all that? Their enthusiasm was massive, absolutely massive, which was fantastic. And then you'd go on to the Bolton side, and their hatred for the wildlings was immense. And, you know, I didn't have to ask them to charge down there and show pure grit, determination, and play the part, because they were just naturally in that zone. And running down that hill, and there was that little dip. And every time we went down, we'd have 3 genuine casualties. I think we started about 200 men at the end of the day. There was about 50 left, I think. We had to do 200 tiles instead of 5. And then when you got to the Unsullied, you know, they were just genuinely in the zone of I am Unsullied. You know, and they were just fixed, focused, regimented guys. So I couldn't have favourites. I think my favourite was Game of Thrones, because every single essay that turned up there, that started and finished, were absolutely bang on the button. And, you know, all credit to them, they were cracking lads, you know. was a few knobbers, but there always is. Yeah, I went home.
You always get them. So you spent a lot of time in Northern Ireland, obviously, during the filming seasons. What would be your favourite thing about Belfast or Northern Ireland?
2 hours ago,
Yeah.
I was in Turkish barber, having a steam shave my head,
Yeah.
burnt ears, wax up my nose, all the other bits and pieces. Every week, once a week, that was my treat on our day off on set. I'd wander around Belfast, and I've been in Belfast many, many years ago, and Belfast City is just an absolutely phenomenal place now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely stunning. You know, the history here, the scenery, the amenities, the shops, the ladies, all those bits and pieces. Now, I love Belfast. It doesn't take much of an invite to get me over here to do it, you know. But in amongst all of it, and this isn't just whitewash, it's genuinely... courtesy of Game of Thrones, I've made some real lifelong friends.
Yeah.
You know, and coming back over here and having a few beers with the lads this evening, which I'm really looking forward to. Now, I think my fondest memory of Belfast is the mates and long life friends I've made through Game of Thrones, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And I suppose a lot of that was made possible through the training and the big camps that you put us through to sort of get us all to gel together. And you know, you're spending that long each day, you know, for 6 days a week sometimes. 16, 17 hours a day with these people, sort of, you know, building that camaraderie. That you do make lifelong friends.
Oh, of course. But you also, an age-old military expression is that, you know, you work hard, you play hard. And we worked really hard on some of these sets. They were a lot, you know, season 8 was just relentless, wasn't it? You know, it was long. But on your day off, you know, you'd finish at stupid o'clock and you'd find yourself in a bar somewhere with the lads. Because you knew you couldn't do it the following night because you were back to work. So that was your only time. So if you were on the night shift, you were going out on the beer with the lads at 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, hanging out after a night shoot. But it was the only chance you could get to socialise with them. So yeah, you know, it wasn't just on set. You know, I do a lot of socialising with loads of the lads from all over Ireland now, Dublin and everything. After this, I'm heading down to over to the West Coast, doing a little bit of a tour down there and picking up some of the lads from Thrones ADs. So
So you said obviously working on the show sort of made you into start watching it. Obviously, so you knew what was going on, sort of, you know, while you were on set. Did you have any sort of favourite characters that you learned to love?
What was that chick called? Who Kit Harington's actually married her now, isn't he?
Rose.
Yeah, she's lovely, and she, bless her.
Egret.
Yeah, Egret. Yeah. She'd if she met me, she'd fancy me, I think.
Would she?
Yeah. No, but I tell you, they've all got good character. Not all. Yeah, there's some really good characters in amongst all of them. But I tell you, who was brilliant was Tormund when he was kind of falling in love with Brienne of Tarth, and he was like a little small boy, this big hairy horrible bloke, you know. Actually, we danced with each other in a nightclub, me and in that same nightclub as well, totally drunk one evening, and but yeah, his character, I think, was brilliant, and as the seasons went on, you actually saw the more human side of him. And when he was falling in love with her, kind of thing, and his passion of wanting to, you know, make babies with her, I thought was pretty awesome, you know, out of all of them. But Jake, I got to know Jacob quite well. Obviously, leader of the Unsullied.
Grey Worm.
Yeah, great, lovely guy. And the Unsullied that I was training. So you had Grey Worm, and I had to actually sit or take part all in Unsullied uniform because there was no room for me because of the positions of the cameras. So I had to literally get into role, and I'm next to Grey Worm, and I think it was Aaron, one of the guys we're meeting up for a beer this evening, named me Sergeant Grey Sausage. That was my role, apparently.
So years on set, Jamie, and obviously years working in Northern Ireland. What would be one thing that would stick with you or that you would take away from your time on Thrones?
Well, it'd have to be the people. Really would. I came over with a little bit of a preconception I'm going to have to be careful, ex-military, 650 or whatever it was, Irish actors, don't know their backgrounds and everything else and all that. You know, how wrong could I be? You know, the people of Northern Ireland have been absolutely marvellous. You know, and not just Northern Ireland. There's people from all walks of life from all over the countries, but it's predominantly Irish and Northern Irish guys. And they, for me, you know, massively welcoming, made some really fantastic mates. And I think, you know, it's hardly a surprise why so much filming is going on in this country now, because you know, it's a great place to do it, isn't it? To be brutally honest. Apart from your shit weather, it's worse than Anglesey. Where I live, I got some real shocking weather, but this place is shit for it, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Well, you can have snow this morning, it'll be sunny this afternoon. Like,
Happy days.
Jimmy, thank you very much for coming on.
My absolute pleasure.
Something I always do for our guests is present you with one of these awesome Wolf and the Crow stickers.
Perfect.
Available on our Redbubble shop.
Brilliant. Get buying. Yeah.
Get buying that. So, yeah.
Superb. My pleasure, buddy. My pleasure, mate. Thank you.
And just leaves us one thing to do, and that is to sign off.
Okay.
So, for the watch.
For the watch, happy days. That's the Badger.
Great. Yeah. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Always.
He was very PC.
Always. Yeah. Well, not always, but like, he was very PC for the interview. And stuff like that. This is the thing. Like, you saw what Jimmy's truly like there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's just a really fucking decent bloke. And stuff like that.
Knows what he's doing too.
If you actually saw him working on set, you'd be like, who's that fucking monster? You know what I mean? But, you know,
Sound.
obviously explaining there why he had to be like that. Money
I'll tell you what, guys.
Time.
So what would you say were the two biggest battles that Jimmy was involved with? Battle of the Bastards and
The Battle of Long Night.
the Long Night. So guys, comment down below which was your favourite battle. Either Battle of the Bastards or the Long Night. Let us know what you think.
That's a tough one.
I got my close up. So obviously you can't see me during a long night. So I got seen the Battle of the Bastards. So just write Battle of the Bastards underneath. What? Alright, okay.
That's grand.
So as always, guys, like, share, subscribe, share this video out to everybody you know.
Tune in Sunday, 8 p.m. GMT as normal.
More
For
madness.
our live stream.
Yeah. Oh fuck yes.
Yeah.
Check out our Patreon as well, guys.
Check out the shop.
Yeah, we've got the extended cut with a few extra bits and pieces in there from Jimmy's interview. So you can catch that over on Patreon. If you go over, check out the tiers and sign up to that for the extra content.
Oh fucking what, hey? So another cracker interview.
Yes, well done,
Just,
Bob.
Like, we're building up quite a collection of interviews, and
It is covering off a good wide sort of variety of
actors,
departments.
makeup,
Yeah.
fucking, do you know what I mean? Military advisor,
Stand-ins,
fucking, yeah,
body doubles.
other extras and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So there's going to be more guys of different departments coming in and speaking about.
Few good ones in the pipeline.
Oh yes, very much so. So stay tuned for those.
That's it.
Always. And guys, thanks as usual for watching our videos, supporting the channel. We love doing what we do.
Much
All right?
appreciated.
So thanks very much for all your support, even if it's just sharing this video out. Okay, so thank you very much. So yeah, without further ado, I think we should sign out.
Sign out?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you want to sign out there, Bobby?
Yeah. I'm going to use Jamie's one for this and
Go
say,
on then.
Happy
What are you
days!
going to sign out there? For the watch. Hey, fucking North remembers.